there are always opportunities for people to sort of take advantage of the largesse that the United States provides and seek ways to get into the United States. But it's not just individuals that are trying to get in, it's those that are here, American citizens, U.S. passport holders, people that are radicalizing, as the director mentioned, and we've all mentioned many times, in the basements of their own homes, where these sort of radicalizing influences can come in and take root to change their opinions about Western culture. They'll start looking at Western culture as being decadent. ISIS is rapidly and very aggressively recruiting individuals from the United States. I mean, I think some of the last data that we have available is stunning. In November of 2014, there were over 600 jihadist attacks, resulting in over 5,000 deaths across 14 countries. This is unprecedented. ISIS, or ISIL, was responsible for about 2,000 of those deaths, so by far the most prolific of the jihadist groups out there, and they are very aggressively seeking individuals with Western access, U.S. passport holders, to enter Iraq and Syria, predominantly through Turkey, to fight within their ranks. And then the fear is that they'll get the training from those battlefields and then bring that back to the United States to sort of visit those deadly skills on us here at home. In terms of ISIL or some other jihadist groups, I think we saw how craftily they've been able to put some of these presentations together, particularly with the horrific beheadings and the most recent killing of the Jordanian airmen, how those very manufactured, those very sophisticated productions are sort of maturing now into a more overt attack against systems through cyber attacks. So I think it was just a maturation of their efforts there. That's the real danger of it, and the challenge for us as investigators is to try and figure out where those radicalizing influences are, where those recruitment centers are that you kind of talked about. They're not recruitment centers like the recruitment centers that you would think of for military or for part-time employment. These are recruiting centers that are online. These are jihadist forums. These are books, pamphlets, chat rooms, places where they can sort of talk about things with their peers and become further and further drawn into this kind of hateful ideology. And it's all online. I mean, most of these folks are being radicalized, in their own homes, which makes tracking them, finding them and tracking them very difficult. What the director said was accurate, and that there are individuals in every major metropolitan area that have sort of fallen to these radicalizing influences and are in some way, shape, or form sort of sowing dissent within their own networks and looking for ways to lash out against the United States or agents of the United States or employees of some sort of government, whether it's police or some symbols of United States power. Faisal Shahzad is a great example of somebody who was able to radicalize online through overseas recruiters, through overseas influences, was able to obtain the information that he needed to attempt a detonation of a bomb on Times Square back in May of 2010. He was recruited by Taliban in Pakistan influences and then learned how to build bombs through overseas training. So he kind of, not only did he radicalize online and receive that sort of training that he needed through the internet and peer-to-peer networks, and then was persuaded to travel over to Pakistan, obtain training, and then come back to the United States and actually effect it. The bombing was unsuccessful, but it demonstrates the willingness of individuals, the skill with which you can put bombs together and learn about the mechanics of explosives online and be radicalized online, and then go overseas and sort of do that overt act to go overseas, conduct the training, and then come back and attack the United States. The limitations are, historically we've always been very concerned about First Amendment protected speech. So that is a concern for us. I mean, when somebody is espousing, their, support for a terrorist organization online, that doesn't necessarily mean that we can just go full bore and start investigating somebody. There needs to be some other additional act, not necessarily a violent act, but some other rhetoric to go along with just the support to engage really some of the things that we need to affect a solid investigation. And I know the director was talking specifically about some of the new privacy features that are embedded within some of our new technology, whether it's new mobile devices that come with sort of automatically encrypted sort of programs in the phone that limit law enforcement's ability, even through a legal process, to obtain that information about their communications with others, sort of to exploit that conspiracy that we talked about. That makes things very, very difficult for us when the manufacturer of those kinds of products build that encryption into it and make our ability to grab it legally difficult or impossible. It's a huge concern for us domestically, and an even greater challenge for us internationally. So for us, we're separated. We still have the ability to be separated by, or we still have the fortune to be separated by an ocean. Many European countries are really struggling with the amount and numbers of individuals that are flowing into Iraq and Syria through Turkey. And when you get into those countries, and so when we have a coalition force that's going into Iraq or Syria, finding out who the bad guys are is increasingly difficult. Domestically, I would say that just trying to stem the tide of those individuals that are flowing back into the United States, whether U.S. passport holders or individuals that are coming to the United States for work or school, we have to become better at screening those people before they can get to the United States, to make sure that they don't come over here with an agenda that's not productive. It just takes one individual, and that's why tracking them are so hard. In many instances, some of our successes over the last few years have been as a result of identifying networks, people that are talking to one another, people that are planning. Many conspiracies are hard to keep quiet, but when you just are a conspiracy of one, it's very, very difficult to identify and mitigate those threats when, the person can radicalize it online at home, and then before anybody has any idea that the person is radicalized, can go out and attack a mall, or can attack a school, or any other population center. It's very difficult to mitigate.